It's very bizarre. I don't
All
know. There
right.
we go.
Hey,
In the
we
building.
got it. Wow. Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
Good stuff,
Here we
man.
go,
Good
man.
stuff.
Sorry
Good
about
stuff.
that. I'm not
Uh,
sure what was happening. So,
hey, let's say we're here now, so we're good to go.
all right,
Now,
great.
I already filled the people in with your resume, your bio, so they know your background. But
Awesome.
as we talked about before, and as I informed people, you're in Minnesota right now, preparing for
Hmm.
opening day. Very unusual, unprecedented situation, you know. So could you talk to the people about how you guys are handling this Corona situation?
Yeah, absolutely. I guess to first to start, just apologize for all the technical difficulties. I could hear everything that you were saying
Hmm.
and telling me that it was being declined, even though I was hitting accept.
Hmm.
So I guess it's par for the course for 2020, and that's why we're in spring training 2.0 right now. Right now, what we're doing is really trying to prepare for the season, at the same time staying safe, staying healthy, and it's really unlike anything in all of my years that I've seen. Every day we have to fill out an app that talks about how we're feeling, and have a couple of temperature checks, and that's prior to heading to the field. Once we get to the field, we have to actually go through another application and get more temperature checks, and also going through testing just to make sure that everybody's safe and healthy still. Um, just about everything that we do is outdoors. Other than getting into the locker room and changing into our baseball gear, everything else is outdoors. All of the trainers' equipment, all of
Mm.
the stretching materials that guys use to get ready, everything is all outdoors on the concourse. And then we actually, once we get into the workout itself, then it becomes somewhat normal where we're playing baseball again. But it's been an interesting process. But everybody's in good spirits, and I think everybody's just excited to
Yeah.
be back and out and playing again.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure. You said so. All the equipment is on the concourse.
Yeah, just any like foam rollers and things of that nature. The guys that do anything to prep themselves, whatever their personal needs are. Yeah, we have everything outdoors. What we're trying to do, and I think what MLB is trying to do, is not have uh, too many people in enclosed quarters for too
Hmm.
long.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. All right, man. Well, I think I speak for everybody here saying we wish you guys the best, and we look forward to seeing you play the game.
Absolutely, I appreciate
Yeah,
that.
no problem. I did read your bio, but could you briefly just go over the positions that you held? Because I want everybody to make sure that we're talking to an individual that did everything you can do from playing the game to the front office. Could you just go over the position?
Yeah, so after being drafted and playing with the Tigers and being traded to the Mets and playing there, I went into the front office as the assistant director of minor league operations, um, and did that for several years, and then became the director of minor league operations. So all of that was really running the player development department from the administrative side, um, and really learning a lot about the game that you don't necessarily get to learn as a player. Really all the dotting the I's, crossing the T's, the business side of the game. And then after doing that, I went back onto the field as the coordinator of instruction, and really working on the continuity of the game from the major leagues, and then bringing it to the minor leagues so that we have consistency and continuity throughout the department. Um, I've been the infield coordinator as well, and also the field coordinator. And did that with the Mets, and then I'm doing the same position, the field coordinator with the Twins.
Okay. Awesome, awesome. So, guys, I'm gonna give some shout outs as well, KMO. But
Hmm.
Stephen Dwyer from the 51s is in the building. He says KMO. I don't know if you can
Oh,
see
okay.
that. Yeah, yeah, he's here.
Yeah.
And
All right.
yeah, so let me shout out some people that came back with us. Gordo Luis
Hmm.
came back. He's in the building. Showtime Nick, as always, a client of mine. Good to see Shelby here. Now, Shelby's a strength and conditioning intern with the baseball program that I work with. I might have to interview her one day. Total Fitness and
Absolutely.
Health in the building. As I said, Stephen Dwyer, Charles Crabb in the building, Luis Gill, Abe Katz in the building, Austin Everson, Cordesia, Lou, my man Lou, clients in the building, Heidi Haley in the building, Vaughn family, Spencer, Gordo again, Nick Profeta, and I think we covered everybody. And Justin, my man Justin, another client, he's in the building. So that's everybody that's here. That's everybody that waved to us. So you're clear on Kevin's positions within the front office. Now, the way we structured it, as usual, we have a list of questions, right? But we want to cover two main topics, then open the door to you guys. You know, we have a total of what? I think it's 7. Let me look. We have a total of 7, right? But like I said, we want to cover our 2 main points and then open the floor up to you guys. If you guys, run out of questions or whatever, we'll just continue down the list. All right, so we're all on the same page. All right, so let's dive into this first topic/question, Kevin, and player makeup. The guys hear it from me all the time on Instagram and my clients. But you and Nitro pretty much gave me the definition of player makeup. So would you define makeup? What characteristic does a player with outstanding makeup display?
I think we've always looked at makeup as sort of the sixth tool. If you think about the tools in baseball, it's, guys they hit for power, they run, they throw, play defense, and that's a lot of times what they're evaluated on. And then we look at makeup as the sixth tool, and really it encompasses quite a bit. We can talk about the guy that's a team player that gives himself up for the team. He's a good teammate. He's a leader. It's work ethic, his desire, his drive, his perseverance, what his commitment to the game is. A lot of aspects of, and a lot of traits that you can look at when you're talking about makeup. And sometimes you learn more about a guy's makeup and who he is when he's trying to overcome adversity. How does he respond to adversity? So it's, when you're looking at a player, sometimes it's really difficult to judge the book by its cover, and you need to peel back the layers. And so it's really just understanding that personality of the player, the integrity, and what he's willing to sacrifice in order to be the best.
Okay, perfect. So, as we just discussed, the next question ties into the makeup. How important, I'm going to say how important and relevant is perception from the coach's perspective, from the scout's perspective, and the manager's perspective?
Yeah, perception, it's a little bit different for scouts than it might be for, say, a manager or a coach. And the reason being, the manager and the coach really get to spend a lot of time with the players. If you have a player on a team and in a typical season, major league season, you're playing 162 games, plus hopefully the playoffs. In the minor leagues, you're playing 140 games and possibly more with the playoffs. And therefore, you really get to know a player extremely well. From a scout's perspective, yes, the scout may sit in the stands and watch the player, and he's going to try to watch his actions. He's watching his body language. And so his perception could be very different than a coach's perspective, because a lot of times the scout does not get to spend a lot of time with the player. He just really gets to watch him perform. And it goes back to what I mentioned earlier in the sense of a scout watches a player, and if a player has a great game, he pitches well, he hits well, that's the scout's evaluation. If a player has a poor game, the scout still has to make an evaluation, and therefore it becomes the evaluation of how did he handle adversity. So that's where perception about a player comes in. And sometimes in my conversations with scouts, and really as I look at players as well, I love watching a player do well, as most people do. also want to see how a player responds when he does not do well. And that sort of completes the evaluation. It completes the perception. Because if that player can be on top of the mountain when he's doing well, but also show that it doesn't faze him whenever he's not doing well, then that tells you a lot about that player, and that tells you a lot about his makeup.
No question, no question. We have some Mets rolling in. Some Mets rolling in. I think that's Ronnie Reyes. Ronnie, is that you right there? I think so. We'll find out. He waved. I don't know. I think it's the man himself, Ronnie Reyes.
Ronnie Reyes.
And I think Abreu's in the building as well. But okay, so we have an idea what makeup is about, and a lot. Let's go back to the scouts real quick, because that's what these guys are going to see, right? We spoke a couple of days ago. These guys, the audience is primarily dealing with showcases, right?
Okay.
And you talked about the body language and everything. And a lot of times you're going to see guys that are already in the system, right? Mostly the guys you're going to see. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah. From my perspective, yes.
Yes. So let's step over to a showcase event. You're a scout. What do you specifically? I know you mentioned body language and all that. Is there any way we can dive deeper into that from the amateur perspective, a high school guy that might not even be familiar with makeup and these things? Can you talk about what you look for and give them advice on how to enhance their makeup?
From a scout's perspective, as someone, comes up to a game, you have your eyes on a player. You really want to start to identify, does this player have a routine? Does he have an idea of what he's trying to accomplish? How does he prepare? Because I think that the preparation is what leads to success. And so those are the things that you start looking at even prior to the game starting. You want to know that this player is putting in the work and he's doing everything that he needs to do. And that's regardless of what happens in the game, regardless if there is success in the game. It becomes about the process. And that's, you evaluate that as well, because if a player has a good process, he's getting the work done, then he has a chance to be successful. And if he has a good process, even if he fails today, he'll continue to work towards what he's trying to accomplish tomorrow and beyond. So I think that's a lot of things that the scouts are looking for. And then beyond that, you're looking at relationships. Does he get along with his teammates? Like, can he be a part of a cohesive unit? Because that's what you're trying to put together. You're trying to put together a cohesive unit, guys that will all come together for the goal and trying to win a championship. And you really want a player that's a part of that and not being disruptive of what you're trying to accomplish. And then once the game starts, obviously you're looking at the results, but that's where maybe the body language comes in. Can a player fail and keep his head up? Does he separate offense and defense? Or if he doesn't get a hit, is he bringing it out to defense? So those type things are things that you can start to evaluate during the game and start to determine or make a determination of how this player overcomes adversity, how he deals with the success. If he is being successful, does he chatter? Is he talking? Is he happy? And then when he's not successful, is he in the dugout pouting? Those are all things that you can start to see, and you can see that from afar. You don't necessarily have to know the player. So the goal is regardless of your successes, regardless of your failures, try to stay on an even keel and separate your offense and your defense. Play the game hard. If you're 0 for 3 or 0 for 4 or 0 for 5, or you just gave up, a big hit in a situation, continue to play the game the right way. Continue to hustle. Continue to cheer on your teammates. All those things make a big difference, especially if a scout doesn't get to know you personally, and that's all he can see.
Mhm. Man, that was priceless, man. When you said the word preparation, I got goosebumps because that's what I preach to these guys all day and all night. The guys, I'm not going to say they don't understand it, but I just want to hammer home the concept of standing out. Like you
Hmm.
mentioned, the routine, in my case, the minute you step in for the workout, my guys know to go, the way to set up is the performance stuff is upstairs. Don't, have fun. Always have fun, be a kid, but get your butt up those
Absolutely.
stairs and lock in, because you're here for a reason. And you also validated the point that you're always being watched when you think you're not being watched, and that is so evident at these showcases. You're not talking about a guy who hasn't seen everything in the game. That's part of being a scout. He's
Right.
either seen it or he's been there and done it. You're not
Hmm.
fooling anybody when you look a guy in the face and tell him this, that, and the other. He's seen it
Yeah.
all and he's done it all. So, man, that hit home for me so much when you talked about preparation, because that's the thing I think the younger guys overlook. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? They might come in there
Yep.
and look over the shoulder to see what he's doing. Look over here, see what he's doing. You
Right.
know, the minute you have that routine, you're standing out, right?
Yeah, I think when you talk about standing out, what starts to happen is the higher your play, the higher levels as you move up through a system, or even you think about major league guys, all the players are pretty good. So you're always looking for that advantage of how can I be better than the next guy? How can I stand out? And that's extremely important. And I tell you what, many scouts will, if they're trying to evaluate a player, the player sometimes, yes, will look over his shoulder. It's like, okay, I need to hustle now because this guy's in the stands. But many will isolate themselves in a spot where they can see you, but you can't see them,
Mm,
because they want to know that you're doing the same thing, the same work, that you're giving the same effort when no one's looking as when somebody is looking. And ultimately, our human nature sometimes is like, okay, now I can relax, and now, nobody's watching. So
yeah.
that happens sometimes. And I think it's important that you play the game and you play the game the right way, not because somebody's watching, because this is who you are and this is how you go about your business and this is what you're trying to accomplish.
Exactly, exactly. And this as you were talking, it reminded me of the many conversations during spring training. You talk about a
Hmm.
guy that didn't have, the work ethic. The work ethic. Let's not talk about the skills, the work ethic. I remember
Right.
you, Nitro, LJ, always saying, man, that guy released himself. Good guy, but
Yeah.
he released himself. Could you talk about, I mean, you pretty much touched on it. Could you just get a little specific from the professional point of view, what you meant when you said, this guy released himself?
I think it goes back to the preparation, and the fact of the matter is, when you get to that level, a lot of guys have very similar skill sets. The tools may be different. One guy may run faster, or another guy may have power. Another guy may be a better hitter, but you've done something to be successful to get to that point. And therefore, you need to find a way to stand out. And what starts to happen is that some guys actually just work harder than others. Some guys may be more naturally talented than the other player, but the player that can become the more well-rounded player is the player that continues to progress, continues to get better. The guys that work harder continue to get better. And I've seen many guys that have just unbelievably like God-given talent and tools, but may not work as hard. Maybe it's taken for granted, whatever the case might be. And eventually you have to make a decision. You mentioned LJ. It was always talked about, when you get to the league and you get to that level, it's a can-do league. We're not
Mm,
looking for guys that are trying. We're looking for guys that can do it. And if you can, you continue to move on. If you can't, then a decision has to be made, because every year there's a draft and there's more players coming in. An organization is always looking for the next player that can help them be successful. And if you find someone that may have, like even we talked about makeup, if you find someone that has similar skill sets, but they're a harder worker, they have better makeup, they fit better with the club, but they're hand in hand, are close in talent level, then you're going with the guy that can help your team be successful, help your organization be successful. And so when you talk about a guy releasing himself, sometimes those factors come into play.
Okay, awesome. Now I'll take a brief intermission, give some shout outs real quick.
Hmm.
New people. We have Henry Baseball Club's in the building. Eric Rosario, Andrea, 75, Delaquel Coach. Eric Bryce in the building. I am Eugene Evans, Luis Manuel. Eduardo's in the building, one of my clients, and it's official, that is Ronnie Reyes in the building. Eduardo Cardenas, Abreus, Mateo's in the building. CHR015, and I think that's everybody who joined us. Garrett Matthews, I think that's it. So just to reiterate, and Aiken Shade just came in. Guys, just to reiterate, this is your interview. We're going to move on. Okay, we have a question. Yes, you can. Henry Baseball, please ask us a question. Ask Kevin a question. I'm sorry. I think she's, hopefully she's typing in right now. That's you, Henry Baseball Club. Ask away. All right. As she's typing, I'm assuming if she's still here. I'm gonna look at the next question if we don't receive a question. Let's see. So, what ability should a young player begin to develop over time to become a professional hitter and fielder?
To become a professional hitter, I think some of the main things that we'll look at is, you look at plate discipline, you look at plate pitch recognition, you look at bat to ball skills, So I think anything along those lines that you can continue to work on in order to increase and improve those skills will allow you to continue progressing. As guys, again, as you move up in levels and you're a hitter, the pitchers get better. So it's really important. You can't hear me?
No, I'm sorry. That was I'm responding to Henry Baseball.
Okay. Yeah. So it's important. Yeah, it becomes really important that you continue to increase those skills and improve as the game improves and as the game gets faster and it gets tougher as you move up in the levels. And fielding, very similar in a lot of ways. But if you can have foot speed, you can have arm strength, and then you continue to learn the game, learn the responsibilities based on your position, then you can also continue to progress through the levels as you improve.
Okay. Perfect. Where is this from? What is the 6 to 12 play? I'm not sure who's. The question is, where is this from? What is the 6 to 12 play? Okay, here, let me ask Aguardo. Aguardo is my client. Regarding hitting, how much of an advantage is it being a switch hitter versus only hitting right or left-handed?
Well, it becomes an advantage in that you never have to face a breaking ball against the same-handed pitcher. So if you're right-handed and a right-handed pitcher is throwing his breaking ball, the curveball or the slider, those pitches are usually going away from you, which makes it tougher to hit. When you're a switch hitter, you usually have the breaking ball coming into you. So if you just think about it from being able to see the ball, your eyes, you can see things a little bit better that are closer to you than are further away or that are coming into you as opposed to going away from you. So that becomes the advantage. The advantage from, say a manager standpoint is, like you get the opportunity to hopefully stay in the game longer, because if you're a switch hitter, he doesn't have to consider, okay, we have a right-handed pitcher coming in. You're a right-hander. I'd like to get a left-hander to take advantage of a situation. But if you can just turn around as a switch hitter, then you may have an opportunity, to continue having that at bat.
Sounds good. Let us know if that worked for you, Eduardo. Eduardo's son, his name is Alonzo. He's working as a switch hitter as we speak. 10-year-old little pop.
Yeah.
So
now the other part of being a switch hitter is it's also double the work. So you also have to be willing to put the work in, because you have to try to maintain your sharpness from both sides of the plate as well.
all right, there we have it. There we have it. I have another question from CHRO415. It's a general question. He just wants to know, let me bring it back down. Any tips for first base? Generally speaking, any tips for first base?
So playing defense at first base?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, the tip is, I think, number one, if you're a first baseman, you always want to try to work with your infielders in the sense of taking throws from them. As a first baseman, you want to be able to see the flight of the ball from the guys that you're playing with. Everybody's going to be a little bit different. Guys have different arm angles. Some guys when they throw it, they do different things. They have different movements. So you want to get accustomed to that. Working footwork around the bag is always important. Being able to see the flight of the ball and react with your feet in order to put yourself in the best position possible to receive the throw. Balls in the dirt, picks are always important. If you're a first baseman and you help out the infielders when they make a bad throw, that gives them a whole lot of confidence that, they can be athletic, make a play, throw the ball over, and know that their first baseman is going to help them out if it's in the dirt or if it's offline. And then fielding your position, obviously just like any other infielder, is important. You typically always have help if it's a play at first base where the pitcher's covering. So you typically have a lot more time as well than the other infielders because the throw is so close. But those would be some keys that I would say for a first baseman. And because the play is so close to the bag most of the time, I would say sometimes as a first baseman you can take ground balls at other positions just to get your feet working, keep your hands working, and to work on your range. Maybe go take ground balls at second base, take some ground balls at shortstop. That way you can maintain your athleticism.
Perfect, man. You guys are getting some great answers here. Very thorough, packed with information. So I hope you have your pens and your notes out, right? So Henry Baseball is back, and they have a pitching question for you. Is there a difference between control and command for a pitcher?
Yeah, generally, if you talk about control, it means that a pitcher is able to be in the general vicinity of the plate. So he'll throw strikes. He's around the zone. When you talk about command, it becomes like more pinpoint, where he can actually hit the spot that he's trying to hit more consistently. So if you're trying to throw a pitch low and away, he can consistently hit that spot. If you're trying to come inside, he can consistently hit that spot. Not that he can just throw it around the plate. That would be control, but the command is that he's pinpoint. He's pretty sharp.
All right, all right. We have another question from a client, my man Lou. Coming from a pitcher's standpoint, what do scouts look for in a pitcher?
Well, I think just to, exactly what we just talked about, the segue of it's control and command. They'll look for arm strength. The arm strength comes in, it's looking at the ability that the pitcher might have. And if you have arm strength, I'd say it would be equivalent to being uh, a really fast runner, a speedster. So if you have arm strength, then the thought is that, okay, that's one tool. Now let's figure out if we can work on his control and command. Let's figure out if we can work on a secondary pitch. So it sort of gives you a slate of things that you can work on, and the arm strength becomes the starting point. It doesn't mean that arm strength is the end all. It just means that, okay, there's some ability here. Let's see what else we can figure out. If the arm strength, is, say, let's say it's average, then they'll look at secondary pitches. They'll look at the ability to change speeds and keep the hitter off balance, because ultimately, as a pitcher, what you're trying to do is upset the hitter's timing in order to get him out. So there's still success there that could be had, but those would be some of the things that they're looking for from a pitching standpoint. And the equivalent to when I use the analogy with speed, just because a guy is extremely fast doesn't mean that he can steal a base, because it's a skill. The tool is that he's fast, and that's what you're grading. The skill becomes, can he actually do all the little things that it takes to steal a base? Same thing with pitching. The tool is the arm, but the pitchability is the skill in order to change speeds, keep the hitter off balance, and get him out.
Awesome, awesome. Lou, we answered your question right there. Great answer, very thorough as usual, right? So, all right, until we receive another question, I'm going to jump to the next question that we have, and this is relating to my end of the baseball spectrum. How important is a strength conditioning program in regards to player development, specifically in this case for the high school player?
It's important. I would say it's extremely important. What you're trying to accomplish is building strength, overall strength. You're trying to build strength. You're trying to build speed. You're trying to build stamina and endurance. If you think about a high school season, depending on where you are, it's a specific number of games. In the warm weather states, you're going to play more than in the cold weather states. But as you move up to college, now you're getting in the 60 to 70 game range. You move up to the professional ranks. It's, the minor leagues, it's 140 games. You move up to the major league ranks, it's 162 games. So really you're trying to build that strength and endurance to make it through a full season and remain healthy. And the health factor, as you fatigue, there's more risk of injury. So that's where the strength and conditioning program comes in, and it's become now where it's a year-round task. In the past, you would think, okay, in the off season, I'm really going to build my strength and prepare for the season, but there's a lot of maintenance that goes into it now. There's a lot of, go back to preparation, taking care of your body, understanding, what your body needs. And even beyond strength and conditioning, if we're talking about lifting weights, I mean, there's the nutrition aspect, there's the rest and recovery aspect. So that's all encompassed in the strength and conditioning program. So there's a lot that goes into it about taking care of yourself and making sure that you're prepared to play a full season.
Yeah, definitely. And I want to add my 2 cents into that. You definitely, we want to get our workouts in, but be cognizant of the fact that the body makes its gains during the recovery process. So that's when things we might take for granted, something such as sleep, and like Kevin mentioned, recovery. We focus on, and you can vouch for this, Kevin, the guys who used to come from the big programs, their first spring training, they're knocking on the door at 5 o'clock in the morning trying to get into the weight room, talking about this is how we used to do it at so-and-so. This isn't so-and-so anymore. You're out here every day when games start from sun up maybe to sundown if you go to the other side. It's no longer boom, 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 pound it in, work out till you puke. Now you have to have a system put together, as you mentioned before, a routine that you can sustain, make gains, maintain, recover through the schedules that you mentioned before. a college schedule was 56 games maybe, and that's I don't know if you go to World Series and regionals, maybe what 70? I don't know. I'm just
Right.
guessing, something like that. So you're going from 70 games to spring training, X how many games that is, to your regular season, and if you go to the playoffs, another season, you might go to winter ball, you might go to instruction league. All these things that might take place, and at that time you have to maintain a healthy body, you have to take care of your body. So it's no longer, like I said earlier, it's no longer about getting it in and I want to be in there every day. We have to become smart about it, come up with a system that allows us to make gains, recovery, and make gains and recover over a long period of time. All right? So,
Yeah, and I think one of the major differences as you talk about the different schedules when you think about high school to college to the professional level is that at the professional level you play every day, as opposed to maybe twice a week, three times a week. In college maybe four times a week, but you have days off in between those games. Where on the professional level, if you have a day off every 21 days, that would actually be a good schedule in that sense. So you're playing every day, so it becomes extremely important that you do establish a routine to take care of yourself and take care of your body and have some time for recovery.
all right, all right. So a couple more people rolled in. Kevin, I didn't I forgot to check the time this started because it lasts an hour. Do you have any idea what time it started?
No, I'm good, man. I know
Yeah,
we owe them about 10 minutes, 15 minutes at
yeah,
least.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah, exactly. So, all right.
I'm good.
So let's see. New people came in. Wade Roots in the building. Four Hambone, Edgardo Lopez Martinez, Yucky 23, GCE 93, Jackpot. All thank you for joining us and shouting you guys out. Have another question for Lou. This might be for both of us. I'm gonna present it to you first. I heard a lot of different ways to keep your arms strong and healthy in my career, but what do you think is the best way to do that?
Preparation, and the preparation a lot of times becomes based on the position that you're playing. The arm care will likely be different for pitchers than it is for a position player. Um, but really establishing a routine, establishing a throwing program. If you're a position player, you really need to prepare your arm based on the position you're playing and the distances that you need to throw. So whatever that position is, really work on establishing that throwing program and that routine, and then listen to your body. You really need to listen to your body and understand how you're feeling, and not trying to. You want to work, but you also have to understand the difference between whether you have soreness or whether there's an injury. So it's extremely important not to try to push through an injury. You may be able to work through some soreness, and then it goes along with the recovery as well. I know a lot of players now are playing and throwing year round, but the body, just like any other, your arm, just like any other parts of the body, also needs some rest and recovery as well. So it's important to realize that and understand.
No question, no question. And Lou, I'm gonna tell you this: there's no general best way. The best way is the way you develop over time. Like Kevin said, your routine. You're working out with me now. We have concepts. You're gonna be working out X amount of days a week. You have a prehab program. You have a shoulder mobility program. You have all these things in place, but you're not gonna be with me forever. You're not gonna be with your next team forever. We need to start developing our routine, taking bits and pieces of things that benefit us. No matter where you go, you're gonna have a structured routine, but you still have to have Lou's routine, Lou's pregame routine, Lou's prehab routine. Start developing those things, and we'll do that as we progress. All right. So let's see if we have any. Got some. Okay, more people. William, Anthony's back. BBR baseball. Anthony. Okay, okay. So let's see. Next question. Which and just to let you know, KMO,
Mhm.
they do count us down at the 2 minute mark. So
Okay.
I might have to start wrapping it up at that point, just to let you know.
Absolutely. Sounds
Okay.
good.
Which one characteristic would you prefer in your ideal player and why? Speed, strength, power, or baseball IQ?
Can I have all of them? um, I think when you look at players and you see guys that progress, they have speed, they have strength. The baseball IQ can be learned. Um, I guess I would look at it in a almost like from a mental attributes and then also physical attributes. With the mental attributes, if you can have a player that is willing to grow, um, that's willing to learn, willing to evaluate himself and figure out how can I get better. Those are the type of players that continue to progress. They're willing to have a discussion and communicate. Okay, this works for me. Um, this I didn't really feel it. This didn't work. Because I think with that dialogue, then you start to, whether it's a coach and a player having that discussion, you start to grow together, and that's really what it's about. Physically, I think you need the strength. We talked about the strength and conditioning program. The strength will build the endurance and the stamina. Um, you need speed, whether it's foot speed, it's arm speed, it's bat speed. You need those attributes and in order to create the skills that will be successful as you progress through the different levels of play. Um, the I think power doesn't necessarily mean strength. I think power becomes one of the last things to come. Whether it's power pitcher or a power bat, that sometimes comes with maturity. But if you're willing to work, if you're willing to learn, if you're willing to explore options in your routines and preparations, then that will be the result. The power will be the result of that. Um, so hopefully that answered your question. So I think it sort of encompasses a lot of everything, everything that you might need. And the baseball IQ, the more you play, the more you learn.
Yeah.
Um, I know I can speak personally that I still see things almost on a daily basis that I learn or that I've never seen before. And I've had mentors that have been in the game for a long time, and they've done the same thing. I still hear guys that have 40 and 50 years in the game, and they see things and learn things every single day. So I think we all have to continue to have an open mind and continue to uh, do our best to increase our baseball IQ and continue learning the game.
No doubt, no doubt. For entertainment purposes, I had to put it in the game show format. I knew you were gonna answer like that, because
Yeah,
you just had to, But we
that's what it
appreciate
is.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we appreciate
Hmm.
that. Now we're gonna get on the fun side a little bit. We've been dealing with the topics. You've seen a lot of
Hmm.
baseball games. You've been in a lot of situations. What was the most intense baseball moment you've ever seen? World Series, playoff game. What do you have?
Yeah. The most intense was likely the first game back after 9/11. Um,
Mm,
we're in Shea Stadium and Piazza hit a late inning home run against the
mm,
Braves. And, just because of where we were as a society at that time and, baseball just coming back after that tragedy, that was probably like the most dramatic, the most intense, because there was still a sense of uncertainty of what just happened, and now baseball was coming back, and then Piazza hit that huge home run, and I mean it was unbelievable because I think
mm.
it was a sigh of relief. It was like we have our game back, we have our country back, and it was extremely dramatic.
Mm.
So that was probably the most dramatic, energizing. Probably interleague play, the first year of interleague play,
Yeah.
to Mets versus Yankees, to play that game in Yankee Stadium and be in the dugout during that game. Um, like you could sit shoulder to shoulder with your teammate, but you could not hear each other talk because it was so loud.
Mm.
And the energy was unbelievable, and I guess, and then also like the 2000 World Series was pretty similar, again, Mets versus Yankees again. So those would be some of that come to mind, when you talk about like some intense baseball moments.
Yeah. Ah, yeah, I did not see the 9/11 game coming. Wow, I can't even imagine. I got goosebumps when you said it because I didn't see it coming,
Yeah,
man. I can't even imagine that. Talk about a once in
yeah,
a lifetime. Wow.
absolutely.
Well, I don't know how we pulled it off, but we're at the last question, and I guess I don't. There's no way we didn't go. We're within an hour. I don't think, but we made it through. So I'm gonna leave the floor up to you. Any parting words that you might have for before you say anything for the high school guys out here and
Hmm.
mostly the travel baseball guys out here, and maybe some college guys. Anything you want to leave them with?
Yeah, I think just to maybe summarize some of the things that we've talked about, as you're setting goals to play at whatever level, if your goals are to play at the high school level, your goals to play in college, your goals to play professionally, create a routine. Create a routine. Learn yourself. Find out what you need in order to improve. And it may be like searching within yourself. It may be asking questions. It may be, you know, coming to Ronnie and finding out about what I need to do to get stronger. And then study the game. Study what other players have done. It doesn't mean that you'll have to take the exact same path, but it at least gives you a guide. And then based on your own attributes, then you can pave your own way. And then be committed. If you're willing to put the work in, you're willing to sacrifice, you're willing to make that commitment, then you can accomplish anything that you want and you can maximize your ability. And that's really what it becomes about. And then leave it all on the field. Strive to be your best, leave it all on the field. Be able to look yourself in the mirror when it's all said and done, regardless of the level that you play at. Be able to look yourself in the mirror and say, look, I did my best. I worked my hardest. I gave it everything that I had. And then finally, have fun. Like, don't forget to have fun because regardless of the level, it's a game. And I think the testament to people that can work hard, enjoy what they're doing, when it's all said and done, I'm extremely blessed to have been in a game for a long time that I love and that I can enjoy. And it's fun. It's fun to go out every single day. And I would wish the same for everybody when it comes to that.
Awesome, awesome. And I think this comment from Anthony just sums up this whole interview for me. Even though I joined late, there's still a lot of information I got. So thank you both. I feel the same way came out. I think you provided the audience with tremendous information. And I want to make a point. If you ever question, looks like I lost you. I'm going to continue. If you ever question if baseball is a mental game or, how can you say 80% mental, 20% physical, if you ever question that, listen to this interview again. We spent the majority of the interview talking about the mental aspect. We barely hit balls. We barely about your approach to the game. All right, your approach to the game. So it looks like Kamo left. Hopefully I can bring him back. Let's see if we can bring him back. Hopefully it doesn't do that. Um, no problem. No, oh, it's going back to the decline thing again, Kamo. Um, I don't know what happened, but anyway, my point was, guys, if you ever question whether this guy is mental, yeah, thank you, guys. I am. Okay, here we go. Let's try him again. Yeah, thank you, guys. I got stronger and got getting ready. Yeah, thank you, guys. It still says decline, Cayman. I don't know what's going on. Lou says thank you. We appreciate that. Thank you, Anthony. Jackpot, we thank you, guys. It was fun. Um, I'm just going to close it out. You get my point. Baseball is a mental game. We talked about the approach of the game so much. Camo's back. Hopefully we can let him close out. It keeps saying decline. I don't know, Kamo. It's same thing that was happening before. It keeps saying decline. I'll try to add you one more time. I don't know what's happening. Sherman, we appreciate you. Ryan, we appreciate you. We're about to wrap it up. Kevin, for some reason, he can't join us anymore, but a wealth of information. We appreciate you guys sticking by, sticking with us, coming back. No problem, Eduardo. Good time. Glad you guys appreciate it. Kevin, they keep declining him for some reason. Let me call him so he can at least say bye to you guys. Kamo, I'm gonna call you real quick just so you can finish your statement real quick, and then we'll shut it down.
I got kicked off.
Yeah, it's doing the same thing. Okay, yeah. We have less than.
Are you off now, or are you still on?
No, I'm still on. I told him I was gonna just let you just close it out real quick. Oh. Just say something, real quick. If you're okay with that, it's up to you.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out why it won't let me in again. My phone rang and then it freaking kicked me out.
All right. Well, just to let you know, I have you right. I'm gonna try you one more time. It says you're trying to go live. It says you're unable to join again. So
yeah, I'm not sure what the heck happened.
Well, we have 1 minute and 30 seconds left. I have you right next to my microphone. So you want to close the guys out, and we'll call it a day.
Yeah, well, I want to say good luck to everyone. Continue to work hard. Continue to do your best to realize your dreams. And, adversity sometimes will come, but perseverance is the goal to overcome and be successful. So if you can do that, I think then you will definitely be able to realize your dream. I just want to say good luck to everyone. Thank you for joining. Thank you for dealing with some of our technical difficulties. Hopefully, we do it again and it'll be much better. So, again, best wishes to everyone and good luck.
There you have it, fellas. Standing ovation for Kevin. Great information. We're going to shut it down. We'll post this as soon as possible, and you guys will see myself on Instagram. Pay attention for the next interview. Mateo, it was a pleasure, man. The guys, the Mets who showed up, we appreciate it. We got to shut it down. Have a great rest of the week. Have a great upcoming weekend. Again, look out for the next interview. Coach Ronnie is out.